Hey, Sales Babbler. I know it's been a while since I've been on here, and a lot's been going on in my life, some of it professionally and some not. But I just wanted to give you an update and know that I've been creating a lot of content lately. And interestingly enough, it's been on TikTok. A few years ago, I was recommended by a lady that I met on LinkedIn, and she was doing TikToks as a mom. She was a British woman of Indian descent, and she was just talking about day-to-day things that she was working on. And wouldn't you know it, she got a huge following. We were chatting, and she goes, "Pat, you should be doing this." And I'm like, "TikTok? Isn't that the one where the kids do all the dancing?" Does that make any sense for me? But she showed me some examples of some men who were doing some, and I could maybe see the possibilities of that. And I put that in the back of my head. That was a few years ago. Well, in March, I decided to pull the trigger, and I actually started a TikTok. And in fact, the very first TikTok that I wrote was that I published was from a quote from Bob Dylan's song, "Don't Think Twice, It's All Right." And it goes like this: "When the rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, it's all right." I just like that song, so I just said it just to practice to see if I can figure out how TikToks work and all that. But looking back over time, I can see I was actually saying goodbye to sales babble, or at least sales babble as I've known it, because I've traveled on, and what I was doing in the past, I'm not going to do anymore. And in fact, I'm going to do something different. I didn't know what that would be, but by going to a completely different media format, TikTok, and being concerned about video and what things look like, I've never really loved being on the camera, but I learned to accept it. And the idea of being able to do something in one take, without stumbling over my words, that was quite the struggle. So it's been pretty fun doing that. And just to tell you a little bit about these TikToks, each day when I find inspiration about something, or I appreciate something, or I've got some gripe about things that bothers me or perturbs me, I'll talk about it. And for only 60 seconds, they're very, very, very short. And in each case, they're all hopeful. They're all empowering. And after a month or so, I found that the best ones were the ones where I asked the viewers a question, something that was thoughtful, something that was deep, something that gave them inspiration for self-reflection. And this is important to me for a reason, because I believe all human growth comes from self-awareness. And that the better that you can understand yourself, the better you can learn to stop some behavior, modify some behavior, or accept some behavior for the way things are. Because when you do this, when you're in this space, you're going to live a much happier life, one of peace and satisfaction. And the thing that's been fun about these TikToks is that I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of views on these things, some in the thousands. So, similar to what I would get on Sales Babble, with less work, actually. And it's been generating a wealth of comments, many of them supportive, others not, which are hilarious. And I see these negative comments that go both sides. I believe that's proof that I've been successful in trying to stay in the middle road. You know me, guys. I've been Taoist through and through. The Tao Te Ching says, "Those who try to control ruin it. Those who try to grasp it lose it. The sage avoids excess, extravagance, and arrogance." And that's exactly what I've been trying to do in these. I've been not trying to promote one political thing or one extreme one way or another. I'm trying to show people that maybe you should think about this. Instead of just accepting what society has given you, what is really your opinion? Really reflect on that. Is that what you really believe? In any regards, it's been highly entertaining, and I believe I'm onto something because it's allowed me to step into a different venue than what I was able to do in Sales Babble. But wouldn't you know it, to my surprise, there's still a lot of stuff there about persuasion and business and whatnot. So, with that said, what I'd like to do is actually share a few of these today so that you can get a sense of what they're like. And now, I'd like to cue up the first one. Today's St. Patrick's Day, and I had the good fortune to teach sales at Aurora University. My friend Sean Green had me come in to speak to his class, and I taught specifically about LinkedIn, the networking tool, and something that I emphasized to the students, I think is very, very important, that it's important that we really need to be building relationships with our customers because it's actually more profitable in the long run. If you sell them something, they're more likely to buy, and they get good value from what they buy. They're more likely to buy from you in the future. They're more likely to introduce you to friends and get great referrals. But if you take a transactional approach and look at every deal on its own and make sure that you get more than they get, which is something we're seeing a lot in today's politics, this is not good in the long run. People buy from people they trust. I love this one because it really speaks to something that's really been bugging me to no end, is that the common conversation these days in society is that everything's a deal, everything's a transaction, and that the most important thing that you can do is to get the most out of the deal as possible. And in fact, there should always be a winner and a loser in any deal, and you need to be the winner. Guys and gals, I couldn't think of anything more wrong. I believe in the power of building relationships. I believe there are lots of win-win situations. I believe taking a transactional approach is very short-term in thinking, and especially for salespeople, we need to think long-term. We need to think about people purchasing and buying stuff long into the future. And it may not be the current products and services that you sell right now, but something way down the road. It may not even be in the same company. But if you build those kinds of relationships, people buy from people they know, love, trust, right? Know, like, trust. Right. The idea of seeing everything as a deal is incredibly asinine. Well, that really perturbed me to no end, so that's why I did that one. Now let's do another. As you may or may not know, I'm a member of the Makerspace Fox Build in St. Charles. And a good friend of mine, Tim Allen, shared something the other day that really resounded with me. He said that a smart person is someone who learns from their mistakes, right? But a smarter person is someone who learns from the mistakes of others. Too many times I've seen people struggling with what to do, and if they just found a wise person to ask and just did what they told them, had them share a story where they did that and it made a big mistake and they found that this works versus doing the same thing over and over again, I think life would be a whole lot simpler. That's a tack that I've taken in my life, is to look for the smartest person in the room and do what they tell you. Yeah, I decided this one came because I was in some meetings, in some business meetings, some entrepreneurial events. People were bringing up some ideas and floating them and asking for any advice. And time again, they would shoot down the advice. Didn't really give it any kind of measure, didn't dig into what the other person was saying. And to a certain degree, had already made up their minds on what they believed. Really unclear why they are even there to a certain degree. And it got me reflecting on, I have seen this kind of behavior over and over and over again. The fastest way to be successful is to look at the people who are experts around you and just do what they say. Just take verbatim. They're experts. You know, if you judge them people of high character, why not just believe them? Why not? That way you don't have to make those mistakes all over again. Yeah, this kind of stuff really troubles me to no end that people do this. And that's And that's what that one was about. Hope you're kind of getting a sense of these, that they're little and they're short. They're hopefully be inspirational. And I'm hoping that after someone hears one of them, they go, oh, yeah. Maybe I should rethink about this. Well, anyway, let's go to the next one. So I heard a story the other day where a wealthy guy was actually needling one of his friends and says, I'll give you $50,000. But at the same time, your greatest enemy, I'm going to give him double that amount of money. Well, the guy responded, cool. I always wanted $150,000. Is that the case for you? Is sometime your greatest enemy yourself? Sometimes I get here on TikTok, I look at myself and I go, you look awful. You really want to get in public with this look? But the thing is, what are the things that we stand for? What are the things that really matter in our lives? And are these kinds of trivialities stopping you from moving forward? Maybe that's a case. I don't know if that's a case for you. It's certainly the case for me. But I hope today that, at least today, I took a chance. Yeah, this is a good example of, to a certain degree, that's been stopping me from moving faster on Sales Babble is my sense of perfection. And everything has to be exactly right. And that I shouldn't be stuttering. I shouldn't be over speaking myself. I shouldn't be looking like I look like, And the interesting thing is, I think what I'm thinking and what I am doing is not unique. I think all humans are like this, most likely. Instead, what's most important is to have courage and is to step beyond yourself and to do something that you stand for. And in this regards, trying to make the world a better place. At least that it comes to me. So that's what I was feeling the day I made this one. Now let's move on to the next. We're living in very polarizing times. There's no doubt about that. A lot of people think that they're absolutely right, and anybody who disagrees with them is 100% wrong. At best, they think these people are idiots, and at worst, they think they're evil, pure evil. But is that true? In my experience, I think most people want about the same things. They want a good job, they want a place to live, they want opportunity for their kids, they want the streets paved, they enjoy music and good food, and they want to dance a little. Isn't that really true? Isn't that really the truth? The question is, do we have what it takes to want to talk to these other people and understand that there's a lot of commonalities between all of us? Do we have what it takes to be civil and to have a conversation that makes sense? I believe there's opportunity here. Do you? Yeah. So far, this has been the most popular TikTok that I've done. It's got a few thousand downloads. I think it's got 50 or 60 comments. And it's a lot of people who, for the most part, saying, Pat, you're right on. We need to be more civil to one another. We need to be more open and listen to the other side. And that'd be a good thing to do. At the same time, there was a few people who said, absolutely not. Those people are evil, and I can't talk to them. I can't do anything about them. And I could tell by looking at these comments, some of these people were people on the left, and some of these people were people on the right. They were on both sides. And it just goes to show you that incivility, that there's just way too much incivility in the world. But I do hope with this post that I did, that it gives people pause when they're in a conversation to listen a little bit harder at thoughts and ideas that they don't agree with, and maybe find a little bit of insight and realize maybe there's some truth there. Maybe they're right. And maybe there's a place where we can overlap and agree. And from there, we can build a better future. Another thing about this one is, you notice that in the end I asked a question that by then I was starting to ask more and more questions. And that's pretty much the way they're all going from now on. And yeah. Yeah, I love that. All right, I think we got one more. So today I'm standing in the rain at Stewart Park. It's Oak Savannah, not very far from my home. And ever since COVID, I've been picking up trash on the hiking trails in Stewart Park. And I found it a very rewarding experience. Just a beautiful place filled with deer and turkey and lots of birds in the spring and lots of spring wildflowers, which are popping up right now. Well, yesterday, to give back to society, to actually be the citizen that I talk about, I actually did some citizening, and I started a group called the Stewards of Stewart Park. And I've had almost a dozen people join already, which is really great. I'm excited to have some people help me on this whenever I travel. My question for you is what could be your Stewart Park? What are the things that you can do to give back to society? Yeah, that's right. I started a group called Stewards of Stewart Park, and I've got like 30 people in it now. We've met a few times, and we've done some cleanups, and we're looking to actually to improve the park and make it add hiking trails and things like that. It's kind of like a forest preserve, and what I like about it is I really wanted to put democracy into action. A lot of people talk about stuff, but very few people actually do it. Very few people have ever run for office or been on a committee. Very few people, most people sit on the side and like to complain about stuff, but they very rarely have they ever rolled up their sleeves and actually like volunteered to do something for a nonprofit or for a government or something like that. I believe, like what Thomas Jefferson said, that everybody should hold office at least once in their life, because you'll have a lot of empathy for politicians and whatnot. If you do it just once, you'll realize that it's not a piece of cake whatsoever. For example, for Stewart Park, last week I had coffee with an alderman who runs the Parks Committee, and we went for a long walk. This week I had coffee with the mayor and took him for a long walk. It takes time and patience to slowly enroll people and get people excited about things you want to do. You don't bully things. If any of you think that you're somehow making the world a better place by engaging with people online and arguing with them, that's making the world a better place, it's not whatsoever. It's what people do in real life that matters, not all this stuff. Which, yes, I get it. Seems bizarre, the fact that I'm doing all this stuff online with TikTok. This is the thing that I would preach. This is just one little piece. I'm trying to get people to actually step off of these platforms, out of these social media platforms, and actually do something in real life. So that's what I'm working on these days. TikTok is a wonderful piece of software. You can actually download these very easily to my phone. I'm now uploading them up as YouTube shorts. And as soon as I've loaded them up, I've been getting incredible traction up there too. So this has all been very, very interesting. It gives me pause on what the possibilities are for Sales Babble, for this podcast right now. And it's been a lot of fun. I guess my question for you, because I can't help but be in this questioning phase right now, is like, do you like this direction of what I've been doing here on Sales Babble? Am I going down the right path? Do you think there's something better that I could be doing? Is there any advice that you have for me? If so, I would really, really appreciate it. You can easily find me on LinkedIn and leave me a message there. I'm going to do a post over there. And if you have any thoughts or anything like that, please reach out to me. You can always email. It's kind of fun having them all in one place so that people kind of build on them. That's what's cool about putting them in the comments. But if you just want to talk to me directly, I'm easy to get a hold of. Pat Helmers at salesbabble.com is my email address. I hope you hear my voice here. I'm finding a lot of excitement in this and a lot of energy in this. As you know, I experienced a lot of loss last year. It's been devastating. And it's coming up on a year now. What I used to think was important, I don't think it's important anymore. I only want to work on things that are important. We're on this planet for a very short period of time. I do not want to squander my time. And I don't think I'm squandering my time doing this kind of thing, so I'm hoping you're finding value in this. And if you don't, tell me. Please tell me. Well, that's all I've got for today. Until next time, take care. Have a highly successful and a profitable selling day.
Thank you for listening to the Sales Babble podcast. Find us at www.salesbabble.com.
This is a production of Habanero Media.